Contestant number 2, Jody Powell. Don't take fine for an answer. Don't take fine for an answer. Jody Powell.
I've contemplated suicide many times in my life. Thought about it 3 times just this week. To me, suicide is always an option. People ask me all the time in casual conversation, they'll say, "How you doing?" And every time I say, "Fine." Well, I'm not fine. This is Jim. And Jim was a successful real estate mogul riding the wave of the housing market boom in 2006. Funny thing about waves, they always crash. And just 2 years later, this housing market wave that Jim was riding, it crashed. And it crashed right on top of him. He lost everything. His house, his cars, savings, investments, all in the blink of an eye, just gone. Jim's pride forced him to push those away that were closest to him, starting with his friends and his family, then his wife and his children. Jim found himself alone, desperate, broke, hopeless. And on that night, that fateful night, Jim made a decision that would change his life forever. You see, as time went on, Jim found a way to deal with the pain. Oh, he had his coping mechanisms. First, he turned to alcohol, then to drugs, then to anything that would just numb the pain. You see, far too often, the help that men seek is not the help we need. And on that night, after a 3-day bender, Jim found himself in a little motel room just outside of Abilene, Texas. He had no idea how he'd gotten there. He lived in California. First, he thought he was hallucinating. There were all these deer heads and antlers all over the wall. But as he groggily came to, he stumbled into the bathroom. And there, on the counter, he saw them. And he knew he had to have them. It was a bottle of pills. Now, he didn't know whose they were. He didn't know what they were. He just knew that he was going to take them. And he did. Every single one of them. Jim died that night. Legally, he was dead. For 1 minute and 47 seconds. And then, for some reason, he wasn't. Jim woke up 4 days later in a hospital bed, and as he turned to his right, he saw an old man sitting there that he had never seen before a day in his life. The old man leaned in. "Jim, how you doing?" And as if by instinct, because he had answered this question so many times before in his life, Jim just grumbled, "I'm fine." The old man laughed. "No, you're not fine." For the next 6 weeks, this man that had found Jim lying there on that motel room floor, this man that had called 911, this man that had performed CPR and saved Jim's life would come to visit him. And every morning, it was the same question. "Jim, how you doing?" Jim would grumble, "Oh, I'm fine." The old man would laugh. "No, you're not fine." Jim didn't get it. What's with this old guy? It's like he won't take fine for an answer. Until one day, Jim had had enough. He was tired of the question. He was tired of having to say he was fine, but most of all, he was tired of this old man cackling and telling him that he wasn't fine. And like a volcano caving to the pressures from within and erupting in the atmosphere, Jim exploded. want me to say, huh? You want me to say I'm not fine? Well, I'm not. I had it all. I had everything. I had money, a career, a family, cars, houses, success. I had it all, and I lost it. I lost it all, and I hated myself for it. And I wanted to end it. I wanted it all to end. And I would have if it hadn't been for you. The old man stood there as the emotions poured forth from Jim. And after a few awkward seconds, he smiled and said, Jim, do you realize that every sentence that you just said was in the past tense? I had, I lost, I hated, I wanted, I would have, all in the past. Today, Jim, today is the first day. And for the first time since 2008, Jim felt something. It was small, just a flicker, but it was there, deep inside of his soul. It was hope. Oh, I still contemplate suicide, but no longer as an option. As a reminder of where I've been, a reminder of where I never want to choose to go again, and a reminder that there are angels walking among us, asking us questions like, how you doing? Are you one of those angels? The next time you ask someone special in your life, how you doing? Don't take fine for an answer. Mr. Toastmaster of the day.